If I've come to learn one thing, I really hate leaks. I'm going to do my best to be as vague as possible with this review because this is a very anticipated movie and I feel like the marketing has shown a lot of it, but thankfully it's still kept a little bit under wraps, and I would hope that just anyone going into it is able to have a vague experience so they can enjoy it to the fullest intent, because this movie is really special and there's a lot of cool surprises in it if you're going in blind. And something that really just clicked with me, on this is like going into it, I was like, man, it's crazy, because I'm walking into the theater with a couple of friends and I see a guy actually walking in behind us, and he's actually dressed up as Spider-Man, just a grown dude dressed up as Spider-Man with a backpack on walking in, and this kid saw him. And this guy stopped to take a picture with this kid because the kid just looked at him and thought he was Spider-Man, and he got all excited, and so they stopped to take a picture together. And then it clicked with me something crazy is that this kid that is looking at this guy dressed as Spider-Man wasn't even around for when Homecoming came out, meaning that we've had a Peter Parker / Spider-Man that's been around for that long, for new lives to grow up and experience the Spider-Man as their Spider-Man. And this character's been around for so long. That alone is special. Just wanted to say that before I even get into this. How beautiful and what a great experience. Like, I'm just grateful that we're still getting Spider-Man movies in theaters. This character has been with me my whole life, and it's going to be around with other people for their whole lives. And I think that's beautiful. With that being said, let's get into the review. Let's talk about the movie. Brand new day. Here we are. It's here. It's out. And there's a lot to talk about. I'm going to be as vague as I can be, though, and there will be a spoiler-filled video because I do want to watch the movie again to get my full, better rounded thoughts on it. But overall, man, Spider-Man Brand New Day starts off, and it's clear it's a different direction. It's a sleek new direction. And Destin Daniel Cretton, who's so different from John Watson. Man, this movie, it just has style, it has flair, but it has personality, but also it is so distinct. This is possibly the most unique Spider-Man movie I've seen ever, live action wise. The way it juggles its plot, the way it jumps around its character themes and never loses sight at the center of it. It's an emotional hook at the center. It's an emotionally authentic viewpoint of loneliness with Spider-Man. And I love that this movie is such a character study for him. It really relishes in Peter Parker's story. And shout out Tom Holland. Tom Holland is the standout here. Tom Holland deserves his flowers because this movie has brought him up for me. He has always been a great Spider-Man to me. I've always felt that sometimes the movies don't show us the full potential that Tom Holland can deliver on. And this movie is the complete exception to that rule. It really shows Tom Holland's shine as Spider-Man. He nails that side of Peter Parker we've gotten to see, that we've grown with. But what I like is that this is finally a Spider-Man movie that really illustrates the fact that Spider-Man and Peter Parker, as he gets older, his confidence grows, but so does his other problems. He's a well-rounded character. He doesn't just stay one awkward kid this whole time. He develops, and we really feel that in this one. You really feel Spider-Man has grown. You see it in the way he shines confidence with the other villains he interacts with. You see it in great opening sequences that give us character building. And what I like is that this movie's action-packed, but all of the action is to a point. The action is character building. It's telling us about the characters and what they're dealing with now and how they're operating in this sense of the world. What's been going on since No Way Home. And you really get a sense that a lot of the action does kind of boil down to a physical embodiment of the overstimulation Peter's experiencing, and it really just feels like a lived-in experience of Spider-Man. New York feels alive and breathable. Lived in. Everything feels alive. The web slinging in this is back, and it's back with a force. It feels so authentic. There's veracity to it. There's a punch it backs with the action scenes. This had the flair of Amazing Spider-Man 2, but the tightness and emotional authenticity of even the Raimi films and some of the best of the original Mark Webb film. Juggling the action with great character moments. I love how this movie knows how to simmer down and slow down, and it's mostly a study about Peter Parker and just him dealing with his isolation. At a point I realized, I was like, we're not seeing a lot of the main villain in this movie, and I'm completely okay with that. I'm so captivated by what's going on just with Peter internally, and that helps with a lot of characters that are juggled here too. What I like about Brand New Day is that it's handled in a way where you never lose sight of Spider-Man and Peter Parker's struggle. It's always his POV dealing with characters outside of him too. So when you meet other characters from the MCU or like Punisher in this movie, the Punisher is just in and of itself incredible, and they couldn't have used him better. What I loved about Punisher, I appreciate that he's not just a cameo, but his significance in the movie is so important. I don't want to give it away. But everything about what they did with his character is something I've always wanted to see in terms of Spider-Man tying in with other characters in Marvel, and I never thought I would see it, and the way it's handled here is a dream come true. I genuinely just love how they handled Frank Castle in this, and it's some of the best Frank Castle treatment I've seen, and it's Frank Castle in PG-13, entertainment. I never thought about the fact that he was PG-13 in this. He just fit right in. Their banter back and forth does so much character building and world building for what Spider-Man's been through in New York, and it tells you so much. There's some scenes where they're arguing like straight up New Yorkers. It's hilarious because for the comedic relief, this movie's so funny, but the comedy, for the most part, doesn't interfere with the drama. There are certain moments where it feels like, all right, that scene was going very well, very well. That joke had the right intent. Didn't quite land, though. That wasn't honestly too much. It was a moment here and there. The last half of this movie, I completely forgot about any small qualms. The last half of this movie just really brings the whole film overall into a perspective that really works for me. It's a tight plot and a simple investigation that Spider-Man's going on. And I haven't even gotten into it because I kind of want to keep it vague for those who don't know what the story might be, but the way the plot unfolds, it feels like you shouldn't know much going in. I really appreciate that angle of it because I like that here Spider-Man is going on one tale where you get to spend a lot of time with him in the suit. This movie's not shy to keep Spider-Man in the suit. I appreciate the restraint on letting us not see Tom Holland's face all the time. There's so much interaction that Peter Parker has in the suit with other characters with his mask on. And again, Tom Holland exemplifies the body acting of Spider-Man so well in this. You don't even need his eyes to move. The little remarks he makes, the clips he throws at people, it's all Spider-Man driven, so the humor is very in character without distracting. Man, I can't praise that suit enough. That suit looks so clean. It's clothy, you feel the fabric, but it also looks badass in the action scenes. I mentioned the action is just so good. Like the moment they said the Shang-Chi director was directing this, I knew the action was going to be great, but man, some of the action scenes are so inventive and unique, and compared to other Spider-Man films we've seen, yet standing out on its own, giving it flair and personality. I like that the action here, too, whenever it got grandiose or big, it still felt grounded weirdly emotionally. There's actually a lot of things this movie's plot juggles, yet it never loses focus because it is one scenario kind of causing a lot of stuff. Keep it vague. And I do love how Brand New Day plants seeds for things to happen later, and I'm excited to go back on a rewatch to catch those things. I could see people complaining about the villain in this. I personally thought the situation at hand was so well handled that I didn't really need too much of a villanistic presence as much as it was much more of a character piece, a character study. And how this movie handles that, I think, is all for the better. And it also makes it one of the most unique Spider-Man films we've gotten. It's so damn refreshing. Like, compared to the other stuff, this is just completely new to me. I noticed this movie had focus. It always knew it was about Peter's internal struggle, his isolation, how to learn to ask for help, how to handle that. But what I like is that as a Spider-Man fan, it does sprinkle in those Easter eggs and those moments that feel like New York is his domain. It feels lived in, it feels established. It gave me that love that I had for Metropolis and Superman, but we finally got that with a New York and Spider-Man. I personally feel like since Spider-Man has been introduced in the MCU, we haven't gotten a fully authentic, lived-in New York Spider-Man that feels like the guy I know and love. We've gotten slow development towards that, and I feel like this is finally fucking Spider-Man on screen. Not saying that to put down the previous iterations, but what I mean is, like, I love that we've spent this much time to get a Tom Holland Spider-Man that has developed into this, and it feels so earned and right. The last bit of this movie had me in an emotional chokehold like no other Spider-Man movie because it just felt like a culmination of everything I've wanted emotionally from this character since he was introduced. I was sitting there in the credits and I needed to take a second for myself. I was kind of embarrassed because there was a group that we were talking to after, very nice people. I was a kind of a wreck though, emotionally. And I'll get into why as I get into my spoiler video, but for now, as it stands, I fucking love this movie. And I'm just so relieved. It's like as I was walking out the theater with my friends, I was like, the relief was washing over me. This was everything I could have wanted from an MCU Spider-Man movie. A couple of beats here and there at the beginning that concerned me, but as the movie went on, it makes itself work, and it all really sings. This might be the tightest Spider-Man plot that we've gotten in live action. It's really focused, and it never loses sight of what it's about. It totally juggles what it means to be Spider-Man and Peter Parker, but focusing on a tale that feels wholly fresh and unique for a Spider-Man story in live action. It juggles other characters outside of Spider-Man, like Punisher, like MJ. I love how this movie handles the MJ element, and I'm not going to get too much into how, but it's done really tastefully and in a way that I felt very mature. Such a mature way to handle the subject matter, and I'm glad we went there with it. As someone who was really concerned about these characters coming back, the way this movie handles it, I felt couldn't have been better. Guys, Spider-Man Brand New Day, it's intimate. It's Peter Parker's story. It's a character study. It's finally that Spider-Man movie in the MCU that I feel transcends the genres. One of my issues with the Home trilogy, with the John Watts direction, is that sometimes the trilogy as a whole felt a bit one note, at times a bit too much on the comedic side. This finally juggles all the other genres genres that Spider-Man can be. A drama, a romance, an indie story, a story about heroes saving people, a badass action movie. It's all of those things while being a tight, focused, and complete plot that gets better and better the more I think about it. I'm excited to talk about Spider-Man Brand today. I'm excited to see it again. I felt that love I felt not only from early MCU, but just Spider-Man from my childhood, but also new Spider-Man, a Spider-Man for my adulthood that has grown with me since my teenage years. Dude, I'm so happy for Tom Holland. He needs his flowers, man. I was so impressed with Brand New Day. Not only a Spider-Man movie that stands out on its own, but elevates the stuff before it to make that even better too. Guys, Spider-Man Brand New Day did everything I could want it to, and then some. If you're worried about how many plot threads this movie looks like it's trying to juggle from the marketing, don't worry, actually. It's very focused. I'm really excited for people to experience this. This movie was crowded. It was a packed theater, and it felt like an experience. It felt special. Spider-Man Brand New Day, guys. It's here. They did it. Guys, what did you think of Spider-Man Brand New Day? What was your favorite moment in the movie? I cannot wait to talk about spoilers in depth with this one. I'm gonna see it a second time as soon as I can. Before I do that, my voice is slowly going away, so I gotta wrap it up. And honestly, I can keep talking about it. Guys, thank you so much for watching Scattered Brain Reviews. Leave a like, leave a comment, come talk about movies with us, come talk about stories with us. I will see you next time.